We've got Jason Alexander to join us. One of the great things about being a swing state, one of the things about being, a state that has the caucuses and all of that, is we get to meet some people we otherwise probably wouldn't get to meet. And Jason Alexander is certainly in that category. Of course, he immortalized the role of George Costanza on Seinfeld and has had tremendous success on Broadway and just about everything else he's ever touched. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Schulte Swann, Jason Alexander.
Oh, thank you. I would have come regardless.
Oh, that's good to hear.
It doesn't. A swing state, no swing state. I would have come to see you guys.
Well,
come on.
Thank you for that. Let's start with, first of all, why you're in Iowa. Today is an early voting, is the beginning of early voting, and obviously that means something to you. And you're also kind of out on behalf of the Obama-Biden campaign. So why don't we start with that?
I am. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. Iowa is enviable. I have voter jealousy here. 40 days of early election is just extraordinary. I wish we had that across the country to avoid the hassle on election day itself. But it's a great tool, regardless of who you're voting for. Yes, I am here on behalf of President Obama, but it gives you so much information about where the candidates have to do work. Where the strong places are, where the weak places are, where the undecided voters are. So regardless of who you're supporting, it's an amazing tool to take advantage of, and we are encouraging it. And, for me, I am a big President Obama supporter, but, it's not just the charisma of the man. I think both of these guys are decent, wonderful men. This is a campaign that's really about choices, and they are offering very, very different choices. I have a 20-year-old son, a 16-year-old son. This election is going to determine, I think, a large part of their adult life. And based on the issues, I am very much in support of President Obama's policies, both economically, socially, foreign policy. I just think of the two paths being presented, the president has. He's presenting the kind of America I'd like to see my sons grow up in. So he has my full support, and I'm out there trying to push for him as hard as I can. But the most important thing is for people to get out and get engaged with this process and take advantage of this early vote.
Is it typical for you to be politically active, or did something kind of click for you to say, you know what, I need to get out there and do something right now? Or have you always been kind of out there and outspoken?
I guess I matured into it the way most people do. I'm a dumb, selfish actor, and I lived a pretty selfish, small life until my kids were born. And all of a sudden, I woke up and said, "My God, there's a whole world out there, and I'm a citizen in it, and maybe I should find out some more about it." And that's when I really started reading and listening and getting involved. But my sense of citizenship and participation has developed over the years. I just feel, especially from traveling around the world, when I go to other countries and I see people desperately trying to get to the rights that we have and to get to have a voice in their own government the way we have, and then to see people not taking advantage of it, it's so disheartening for me. So that's when my involvement stepped up. And, there are people out there, and I totally get it. They don't want some schmo from a TV show telling them what they should think or what they should do. And I try to not come off doing that. What I think is important is we're all citizens. We all should be engaged in this process. And so I try and just be an example of that engagement. And, I do a lot of reading, and I am involved, and I try and get learn about issues from all sides and incorporate a lot of points of view. Everybody accuses me of being an old liberal, but I'm really not. I'm really just a common sensist, and I try and look at what is the best path for any given situation. And I love engaging in these conversations. I love getting out and talking to people, seeing what's important to them, sharing my ideas, learning from them sometimes. I am far from having all the answers. Believe me, if I did, I'd run for something myself. But I just think it's an important part of being an American citizen.
You're going to be seeing it at an awful grassroots level this morning. I see in one case here, you're heading to Nevada, where it says everybody should be at the courthouse, and if you can bring a favorite breakfast dish to share, please do. That sounds like something out of like the Music Man, doesn't it?
Wow, I'm telling you, I hope somebody brings a Pop-Tart. I'm not
Pop-Tart.
This is so
That's
grassroots
awesome.
sounding. It is pronounced Nevada, by the way, Jason.
Yes, thank you. And it's apparently not a place where I should gambell.
As far as your acting goes, you say you've sort of matured into this role as a as a citizen. How about with the fact that you've got obviously the ability to make any decisions you want as far as what you get to do with your notoriety and all of the different things you've done? Are you making choices as an actor that are different than you did before as you mature as an actor?
Well, what's so flattering is that people believe because you've had any kind of success that you're in a position to be making choices. The actors that actually get to make choices are very much at the top of the food chain, and there's not a lot of them. I get offered a lot of stuff that is not interesting to me. Some of the variations of George, and it's not that I have I have no compunction about doing roles like that. It's just that I kind of did the best one I'm ever going to get offered. Mm-hmm. So I try not to repeat myself that way. But, I find myself what's actually happened, and the reason that you don't see as much of me in front of the camera is because I've moved behind the camera. I've taken directing and producing and writing and teaching, actually, a lot more seriously. And kind of using that to keep myself engaged and interested until another great role comes along, and they are few and far between, I'm afraid.
Obviously, you're in that small group of people, though, that have an indelible mm-hmm. character that you will, that is a dominant character. How does that, because you always hear about some actors that try to stay away from that and that try to, kind of run from it, because it's got to be something that does cast a big shadow. What's your sensibility with the acceptance of the fact that you will also in part live forever as George Costanza?
Well, any live forever part I think is great. It's, listen, I always think I have stumbled into something that is going to outlive me, as you say. And what's remarkable about the show and the character is that we've been off the air since, not off the air, but not doing shows since 1998. That's a pretty long time. Mm-hmm. The audience in the time between we left the air and now has grown astronomically. It's almost 5 or 6 times what it was when we were on the air. I get letters, and I meet people from all over the world who go out of their way to tell me how much the show has influenced them, how much it's entertained them, and frankly, I get letters from people who are, who have lost a parent, lost a child, are fighting an illness, have gone to war, telling me how much it has meant to their recovery, how much it's gotten them through hard times, and that is such a gift. Acting is such a selfish profession, and to have been part of something that is actually having that kind of impact in people's lives, you will never see me run from that. Yes, I've moved on in many ways, but the fact that something I've been a part of is still impacting people like that gives me nothing but pride, and I'm grateful for it. And no one, there's never a chance where somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, I want to ask you something about Seinfeld," and I don't go, "Sure, what do you want to talk about?" Because I know what it means to them. In the same way that I was a Star Trek junkie, and when I met Bill Shatner, if he had said, "I don't want to talk about Star Trek," I would have killed myself and him all the time.
But yeah, you're in everybody's house everywhere every day, and that's not going to change for a while. Do you ever have communication with the rest of the cast anymore?
Yeah, we do. We're kind of all over the place. Michael and Jerry are New York-based. Julia and I are LA-based, but Julia's new show shoots in Baltimore, so she's all over the place. Julia and I had lunch a couple of weeks ago. We stay in pretty good touch. I talked to Jerry the other day because apparently Jerry and George got voted the world's TV's greatest comedy duo, so I called them and said, "We are bigger than Lucy and Ethel, my friend."
That's amazing.
I saw that. I was like, oh, my God.
And a big night for Julia the other night, too, with her Emmy.
How about that? Julia Louis-Dreyfus sneezes and it wins an Emmy. I'm telling you, this woman can do nothing wrong. She is, Jules is one of a kind. She is still a beautiful woman, and nobody is funnier. I will also tell you that she is an extraordinary actress, and that part of her talent has not even been scratched. Mm-hmm. But, when it comes to being funny, to me, she's one of the funniest girls on the planet, so I can't imagine she won't go on winning awards as long as she wants to.
And, since you're a Trekkie, too, and you're in Iowa, and you're making sort of the rounds of some smaller places, right down the road from us in eastern Iowa here, we've got Riverside, Iowa, which is the future birthplace of Captain James T. Kirk.
Well, you know what? live long and prosper is what I have to say. I actually work out every day, 5 days a week. I work out. This is my little claim to fame. I work out in a gym right next to Chris Pine's mother. How about that?
Awesome.
Come on, now
Awesome.
you're impressed.
I thought you were going to say William Shatner. I was going to say surely
the
you
young
can do
Captain
better than
Kirk.
him on the
That's
treadmill.
right.
Yeah.
And Shatner, I spend Monday Night Football with most of the time.
Do you really?
I do. Bill and I have become friends, and I get invited to Monday Night Football. It's a huge bash at his place. He and Elizabeth they blow it out for Monday Night Football, and more often than not, though I know nothing about football, I go over there just to support the captain.
He doesn't seem to age. He has really had a remarkable recent career.
Yeah, Bill has had a renaissance, and being a madman, I think, is really helpful to him here in the latter part of his career. He says no to nothing. It's extraordinary. From a commercial to a series to a one-man tour, excuse me, he is just he loves what he does, and he is back in a place where everybody's asking him to do it.
Is he personally just hilarious?
He's an interesting dude. There's a bit of madness behind the eyes of Bill Shatner, and you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. But he's smarter than you know, and really funny, and a fascinating guy.
What's next for you, Jason?
Next for me, I'm doing a bit of directing back home. I got some theater pieces I'm directing. I've got a TV show in development. I got a movie coming out that we shot over the summer. I don't have a release date yet, but the interesting thing about my life is the phone could ring in 10 minutes and somebody goes, I got the next gig for you. So we just don't know.
Well, that's Jason Alexander. He's in the state of Iowa. He's promoting the fact that early voting has begun today. Well, it was very kind of him to spend some time with us this morning, and we really enjoyed it.